The fluorescent lights of the diner buzzed overhead as Amara Johnson felt her knees give way. The dinner plates crashed to the floor, shattering into pieces as she collapsed, her 7-month pregnant belly hitting the ground first. Pain shot through her body as she gasped for breath, her vision blurring from exhaustion. This was her 3rd job today and her body simply could not take any more. The other diners gasped and rushed toward her, but one man moved faster than the rest. Benjamin Cross, billionaire tech mogul, had been sitting quietly in the corner booth reviewing contracts when he saw the young African-American woman fall. Without hesitation, he knelt beside her, his expensive suit touching the dirty diner floor. "Someone call 911, he commanded, his voice carrying the authority he was used to wielding in boardrooms. "Ma'am, can you hear me? My name is Benjamin. I'm going to help you." Amara's eyes fluttered open, focusing on the concerned face of a well-dressed white man in his 30s. Even in her pain, she could see the genuine worry in his dark eyes. "My baby," she whispered, tears streaming down her cheeks. "Please, my baby." "The baby is going to be fine," Benjamin said firmly, though his heart pounded with worry. "I'm taking you to the hospital right now. My driver is outside." When the paramedics arrived, Benjamin stayed close. "I'll follow you to the hospital," he told them. "I'm covering all her medical expenses." At the hospital, as Amara lay in the emergency room bed with monitors beeping around her, Benjamin approached her bedside. "The doctors say you and the baby are stable, but you need complete bed rest. You've been pushing yourself too hard." Amara looked at this stranger who had already done so much for her. "Sir, I can't afford this hospital. I work 3 jobs just to pay rent. I don't know how to repay you." "You don't need to repay me," Benjamin said quietly. "But I have a proposal. I need a live-in cook at my home. The position comes with full room and board, health insurance, and a generous salary. You would have complete rest for your pregnancy and excellent care for when the baby arrives." Amara stared at him in disbelief. Such generosity from a complete stranger seemed impossible, but she thought of her unborn child. "Yes," she said without hesitation. "Yes, I accept. Thank you so much. I don't even know your name, but you've saved my baby's life." "Benjamin Cross," he said, extending his hand. "And you are?" "Amara Johnson," she replied, shaking his hand with both of hers. "Mr. Cross, I promise you won't regret this. I'll work harder than anyone has ever worked for you. Are you wondering what happens when a desperate woman meets a man who can change her life forever? Subscribe to see how this incredible journey unfolds, and comment below about what you think will happen next between Amara and Benjamin. 3 days later, Benjamin's driver picked up Amara from her tiny studio apartment. She carried only 2 small suitcases containing everything she owned. Her landlord had been surprisingly understanding about breaking the lease early, especially after Benjamin's assistant had called to settle her remaining rent and deposits. As they drove through the wealthy suburbs, Amara pressed her face to the window in amazement. The houses grew larger and more impressive with each mile. When they finally pulled up to Benjamin's estate, she gasped audibly. The mansion was 3 stories of pristine white stone, with perfectly manicured gardens and a circular driveway featuring a fountain in the center. Benjamin met her at the front door, looking more relaxed than he had at the hospital. He wore casual khakis and a button-down shirt, but even his casual clothes probably cost more than Amara made in a month. "Welcome to your new home," he said, taking her suitcases. "Let me show you around." The interior was breathtaking. High ceilings, marble floors, and artwork that Amara recognized from magazines. But despite its grandeur, something felt cold about the space. There were no family photos, no personal touches that made a house feel like a home. "This is the kitchen," Benjamin said, opening double doors to reveal a chef's dream. Professional-grade appliances, granite countertops, and every cooking tool imaginable. "I hope it meets your needs." Amara walked around the kitchen in wonder, running her hands along the smooth countertops. "Mr. Cross, this is incredible. I've never seen anything like it." "Please call me Benjamin," he said. "And this is your suite." He led her up a curved staircase to the 2nd floor. The guest suite was larger than her entire previous apartment. It had a sitting area, a bedroom with a king-sized bed, and a private bathroom with a soaking tub. "I took the liberty of having some maternity clothes delivered," Benjamin said, gesturing to the closet. "And the nursery is being prepared in the room next door." Amara sank into the plush armchair, overwhelmed by his generosity. "Benjamin, I don't understand why you're doing all this for me. We just met 3 days ago." Benjamin was quiet for a moment, looking out the large window. "My mother died when I was 12, he said finally. "My father was always traveling for business. I grew up in houses like this but they never felt like homes. Maybe I'm hoping you can change that. I promise I will, Amara said with conviction. I lost my husband 6 months ago in a car accident. I know what it feels like to be alone. But I also know how to make a place feel warm and welcoming. That's what I want to do for you. Benjamin nodded, seeming satisfied with her answer. Dinner is usually at 7. Breakfast at 8. Other than that, your time is your own. Rest as much as you need to. That evening, Amara prepared her first meal in the magnificent kitchen. She made her grandmother's recipe for buttermilk fried chicken, creamy mashed potatoes, green beans with bacon and cornbread from scratch. The smell filled the entire first floor of the mansion. When Benjamin entered the dining room, he stopped short. The table was set with care, candles were lit, and soft music played from the speaker system. But more than that, the entire space felt different. Warmer. This smells incredible, he said, taking his seat. I hope you like it, Amara replied, serving him a generous portion. This was my husband's favorite meal. Benjamin took his first bite and closed his eyes. The food was perfect, but it was more than that. For the first time in years, he wasn't eating alone in silence. Amara sat across from him, her presence making the large dining room feel intimate. Tell me about your husband, Benjamin said. Amara's face lit up. James was a mechanic. He had the biggest heart of anyone I ever knew. He used to say that I could make a feast out of nothing but love and creativity. He would have loved this kitchen. Her hand moved to her belly. I just wish he could have met our baby. Benjamin felt something shift inside his chest. He had spent years surrounded by people who wanted something from him, but Amara's sadness was genuine. Her love for her late husband was real, and her gratitude toward Benjamin was sincere. He would be proud of you, Benjamin said quietly. You're incredibly strong. I don't feel strong most days, Amara admitted. But this baby needs me to be. And now, thanks to you, I actually can be. As they finished dinner, Benjamin realized something had changed in his house. For the first time in his adult life, he wasn't eager to escape to his office or lose himself in work. He wanted to stay right here, in this warm dining room, talking with this remarkable woman who had somehow made his house feel like a home in just one evening. Amara woke up the next morning in the most comfortable bed she had ever slept in. Sunlight streamed through the large windows, and for a moment she forgot where she was. Then she remembered and smiled, placing her hand on her growing belly. Good morning, little one, she whispered. Mama found us a safe place. She made her way to the kitchen and started breakfast. Fresh pancakes, turkey sausage, scrambled eggs, and fresh fruit. She had learned from cooking shows that presentation mattered in fine dining, so she arranged everything beautifully on the expensive china. Benjamin appeared at 8 o'clock sharp, dressed in a tailored navy suit. He stopped when he saw the breakfast spread. You didn't have to do all this, he said, though his tone suggested he was pleased. I wanted to, Amara replied, pouring him fresh orange juice. Besides, I'm eating for 2 now, so I need to keep my energy up. As they ate, Benjamin noticed how Amara took genuine joy in small things. She marveled at the fresh strawberries, commenting on how sweet they were. She appreciated the quality of the eggs and wondered aloud about what kind of chickens they came from. Her enthusiasm was infectious. I have meetings all day, Benjamin said, finishing his coffee. But I wanted to let you know that Dr. Martinez will be here at 2 o'clock for your prenatal checkup. Amara nearly choked on her juice. You arranged for a doctor to come here? Dr. Martinez is one of the best obstetricians in the city. I thought it would be easier than you traveling to appointments, especially as your pregnancy progresses. Benjamin, that must cost a fortune, Amara protested. Don't worry about the cost, Benjamin said firmly. Your job is to stay healthy and take care of yourself and the baby. That's it. After Benjamin left for work, Amara explored the mansion more thoroughly. She discovered a library with floor-to-ceiling books, a home gym, and a garden room with the most beautiful plants she had ever seen. But despite all the luxury, she could feel the loneliness that echoed through the halls. She spent the morning cooking and preparing, but also adding small touches that she hoped would make the house feel more welcoming. She arranged fresh flowers from the garden in vases around the main rooms. She opened windows to let in fresh air and natural light. She even moved some of the formal furniture to create more intimate conversation areas. Dr. Martinez arrived precisely at 2 o'clock, a kind woman in her 50s who immediately put Amara at ease. Mr. Cross has briefed me on your situation, she said as she set up her portable equipment. I understand you've been under a lot of stress lately. The checkup revealed that both Amara and the baby were healthy, but Dr. Martinez was concerned about Amara's weight. "You're underweight for this stage of pregnancy," she explained. "It's clear you haven't been eating enough. But now that you're in a stable environment, we can focus on proper nutrition." "I'll make sure she eats well," Benjamin said from the doorway. Neither woman had heard him come in. "Mr. Cross," Dr. Martinez said, "I'm impressed by the care you're providing. This young woman and her baby are very fortunate." After the doctor left, Benjamin found Amara in the garden room tending to the plants. "I hope you don't mind," she said quickly. "I noticed some of these needed water and this one needed to be repruned." Benjamin looked around the space with amazement. The plants looked healthier and more vibrant than they had in months. His housekeeper had been maintaining them, but Amara had brought them back to life. "How did you learn about plants?" he asked. "My grandmother had a garden," Amara explained, gently misting a fern. "She taught me that everything grows better with a little love and attention. Plants, food, people, it's all the same." That evening at dinner, Benjamin noticed more changes. Amara had prepared salmon with herbs from the garden, roasted vegetables, and a salad with edible flowers. But beyond the food, the dining room felt completely different. The lighting was softer, there was gentle music playing, and Amara had somehow made the formal space feel cozy. "You've transformed this place," Benjamin said, looking around with wonder. "I hope that's okay," Amara replied, suddenly worried. "I don't want to overstep." "It's more than okay," Benjamin assured her. "This house hasn't felt alive in years. You've been here one day and already it feels like a home." Amara smiled with relief. "That's what I do best, I think. Make places feel like home." As they talked over dinner, Benjamin found himself sharing stories he hadn't told anyone in years. He talked about his lonely childhood, his demanding father, and his struggles to find genuine relationships in a world where everyone wanted something from him. Amara listened with complete attention, offering gentle observations and asking thoughtful questions. She didn't try to solve his problems or offer empty platitudes. She simply listened with compassion. "You know what I think?" she said as they finished dessert. "I think you've been taking care of everyone else for so long that you forgot what it feels like to be taken care of." Benjamin was quiet for a long moment. "I'm not sure anyone has ever taken care of me," he admitted. "Well," Amara said with a warm smile, "that's about to change." Over the following weeks, Amara settled into a routine that brought unexpected joy to both her life and Benjamin's. Every morning she woke early and prepared breakfast with care. But it wasn't just the cooking that made the difference. It was all the small touches that transformed the mansion into a real home. Benjamin began to notice these details immediately. Fresh flowers appeared on his bedside table each morning. His coffee was exactly the right temperature when he came downstairs. His favorite books, which had been scattered around his office, were neatly organized but still easily accessible. Clean laundry appeared in his room with military precision, but somehow it smelled like sunshine and lavender instead of the harsh chemicals his previous housekeeper had used. "You don't have to do all of this," Benjamin told Amara one morning as he discovered that she had prepared his lunch and packed it in an insulated bag for his business meetings. "Taking care of me wasn't part of our arrangement." "I know," Amara replied, adjusting his tie with a gentle touch. "But taking care of people is what makes me happy. Besides, you're taking care of me and my baby. This is the least I can do." Benjamin was struck by how natural her touch felt. His previous relationships had been with women who saw his wealth first and him second. But Amara's kindness felt completely genuine. As her pregnancy progressed, Benjamin found himself rushing home from work each day. The mansion, which had once felt like an elegant prison, now felt like a sanctuary. Amara would greet him at the door with genuine happiness, asking about his day and listening to his answers with real interest. "How was the board meeting?" she would ask, helping him out of his jacket. "Stressful," Benjamin would reply. "Johnson is still fighting the merger and the stockholders are getting nervous." Instead of the glazed-over look he was used to receiving when he discussed business, Amara would nod thoughtfully. "That sounds frustrating. What do you think would help them feel more confident about your decision?" Her questions weren't just polite conversation. She genuinely wanted to understand his world, and her outsider's perspective often helped him see situations more clearly. One evening, Benjamin came home to find soft music playing throughout the house and candles lit in the living room. Amara was reading in her favorite chair, one hand resting on her now prominently rounded belly. "Is everything okay?" he asked, concerned by the unusual atmosphere. Amara looked up with a serene smile. "Everything's perfect. I just thought the house could use some extra warmth tonight. You seem stressed this morning." Benjamin realized she was right. He had been stressed about a potential lawsuit that morning, and somehow she had sensed it and created this peaceful environment for him to come home to. "You don't have to manage my moods," he said gently, sitting across from her. "I'm not managing your moods," Amara replied. "I'm just trying to create a space where you can relax and be yourself." That weekend, Benjamin decided to work from home so he could be nearby in case Amara needed anything. He set up his laptop in the breakfast nook while she prepared lunch. As he worked, he became aware of Amara humming softly while she cooked. The sound was incredibly soothing. "What song is that?" he asked during a break from his emails. "Something my grandmother used to sing," Amara replied, stirring a pot of soup. "She said music makes everything taste better. She sounds like she was a wise woman." "She was," Amara agreed. "She raised me after my parents died when I was 8. She taught me that the most important thing you can give someone is your attention and care." Benjamin watched as Amara tasted the soup and adjusted the seasoning. Everything she did was done with complete focus and care. Even the simplest tasks, like folding napkins or arranging flowers, received her full attention. "I've never known anyone like you," Benjamin said suddenly. Amara paused in her cooking and looked at him curiously. "What do you mean?" "You put so much love into everything you do. Even when no one is watching, you do things with such care." Amara blushed slightly. "My grandmother used to say that how you do anything is how you do everything. If you're going to do something, you might as well do it with love." That afternoon, while Benjamin worked, Amara surprised him by bringing him tea and homemade cookies. But she also brought him a small potted herb plant. "I thought you might like some fresh basil for your office," she said, placing the plant on his desk where it would catch the afternoon sunlight. "It smells wonderful and it's supposed to help with concentration." Benjamin stared at the small plant with amazement. In all his years of wealth and success, no one had ever given him something so simple and thoughtful. The plant cost virtually nothing, but the care behind it was priceless. "Thank you," he said, and his voice came out rougher than he intended. "You're welcome," Amara replied, then hesitated. "Benjamin, can I ask you something?" "Of course. Don't you get lonely in this big house all by yourself?" The question hit him like a physical blow. "I suppose I do," he admitted. "I've gotten used to it." "Well, you're not alone anymore," Amara said firmly. "Even after the baby comes, you'll always have family here if you want it." As she walked back to the kitchen, Benjamin realized that somewhere along the way, this arrangement had become much more than a business transaction. Amara wasn't just his employee, she was becoming the heart of his home and possibly his heart as well. As Amara entered her 8th month of pregnancy, the evening conversations between her and Benjamin became the highlight of both their days. After dinner, they would sit in the living room, Amara in her favorite armchair with her feet up, and Benjamin on the sofa nearby. These talks had become sacred time for both of them. "Tell me about James," Benjamin said one evening, noticing Amara touching her wedding ring which she still wore. Amara's face softened with love and sadness. "He was the kind of man who would stop his car to help a stranger change a tire, even if he was wearing his best clothes. He worked at Patterson's auto shop downtown, and customers would request him specifically because they trusted him completely." She shifted in her chair, her hand moving to her belly. "He proposed to me in that very shop, covered in grease, right in front of all his co-workers. He said he couldn't wait another minute to ask me to be his wife because every day with me was a gift he didn't want to waste." Benjamin felt a pang of something he couldn't quite identify. "How long were you married?" 2 years, Amara replied. "We were trying to save money to buy a house when I got pregnant. James was so excited about the baby. He spent every weekend researching cribs and car seats and reading parenting books." Her voice grew thick with emotion. "He never got to feel the baby kick." Benjamin leaned forward, his heart breaking for her. "I'm so sorry, Amara." "The hardest part," she continued, "is that he would have been such an amazing father. He had this way of making everyone feel special and loved. He used to say that love wasn't just a feeling, it was a choice you made every single day." "He sounds like an extraordinary man," Benjamin said quietly. "He was," Amara agreed. "But you know what he would tell me if he could see me now? He would tell me that I can't honor his memory by closing my heart to new love. He always said that love multiplies, it doesn't divide." Benjamin was quiet for a long moment. "Do you think you'll ever remarry?" Amara considered the question carefully. "I thought I would never want to. But lately—" She paused, looking directly at Benjamin. "Lately I'm learning that there are many different kinds of love, and they can all exist in the same heart." The next evening, Benjamin surprised Amara by sharing more about his own past than he ever had with anyone. "I was engaged once," he said as they sat with after-dinner coffee. Her name was Caroline. She was beautiful, sophisticated, everything I thought I wanted in a partner. What happened? Amara asked gently. I discovered that she was only interested in my money and status. She was actually seeing someone else the entire time we were together. When I confronted her, she didn't even deny it. She just said that she assumed I knew our relationship was transactional. Benjamin's jaw tightened with the memory. After that, I decided that keeping people at arm's length was safer. Business relationships are clear and honest. Personal relationships seemed like a luxury I couldn't afford. That must have been so painful, Amara said with genuine sympathy. The worst part was that it confirmed what I had always suspected, Benjamin continued. That without my money I'm not very interesting. I'm not charming or funny or particularly handsome. I'm just a workaholic who happens to be good with technology and business. Amara set down her coffee cup and looked at him with intensity. Benjamin Cross, that is the most ridiculous thing I have ever heard. Benjamin looked up, startled by her vehement tone. You are one of the most interesting people I have ever met, Amara continued. You notice everything. You remember details about people that matter to them. You're incredibly intelligent, but you don't make other people feel stupid. You're generous and kind, and you have a wonderful dry sense of humor that makes me laugh every day. Amara? Benjamin started to protest. I'm not finished, she said firmly. You are also quite handsome, though I suspect you have no idea. But more than that, you have something much rarer than good looks. You have a good heart. And any woman who can't see that doesn't deserve you. Benjamin stared at her, overwhelmed by her passionate defense of him. How can you be so sure about all of that? Because I pay attention, Amara replied simply. And because I care about you. The air between them seemed to shift, becoming charged with an emotion that neither was quite ready to name. I care about you too, Benjamin said softly. More than I should probably. Why shouldn't you? Amara asked. Because you're pregnant with another man's child. Because you're still grieving your husband. Because you work for me. Because I'm not good at relationships. Amara smiled gently. Those are all reasons to be careful, not reasons not to care. That night, as Benjamin lay in bed, he realized that somewhere along the way, his feelings for Amara had grown beyond friendship, beyond gratitude, beyond anything he had planned. He was falling in love with her strength, her kindness, her wisdom, and her incredible capacity to see the good in everything around her. But he also knew that she was still healing from tremendous loss, and that her primary focus needed to be on her baby. Whatever his feelings were, he would have to be patient and let her set the pace for anything that might develop between them. Meanwhile, in her room, Amara was having similar thoughts. She touched her belly and whispered, "What do you think, little one? Is Mama allowed to fall in love again?" As if in response, the baby kicked strongly and Amara laughed softly. I'll take that as a yes. The next morning brought unexpected excitement. Benjamin had left for work earlier than usual, telling Amara he had a surprise to prepare. She spent the day curious but focused on her usual routines, though she found herself checking the windows frequently for his return. When Benjamin's car pulled into the driveway at 3 o'clock instead of his usual 6, Amara knew something special was happening. He walked through the front door with an expression of barely contained excitement. I have something to show you, he said, taking her hand gently. But you have to close your eyes. Benjamin, what are you up to? Amara laughed, but she closed her eyes and let him guide her up the stairs. Okay, he said when they stopped walking. Open your eyes. Amara gasped and covered her mouth with her hands. The room next to her suite, which had been empty when she moved in, had been transformed into the most beautiful nursery she had ever seen. Soft yellow walls were decorated with hand-painted animals. A white crib with delicate bedding sat near the window, where natural light would warm the baby during the day. A comfortable rocking chair was positioned perfectly for feeding and soothing. And every baby item she could possibly need was thoughtfully arranged throughout the room. Benjamin, she whispered, tears streaming down her face. This is incredible. I wanted your baby to have everything, Benjamin said, watching her reaction carefully. The crib converts to a toddler bed and there's a changing table, a dresser, toys, clothes in multiple sizes, everything I could think of. Amara walked around the room in wonder, touching each item with reverence. This must have cost thousands of dollars. Don't think about the cost, Benjamin said firmly. This baby is going to be loved and cared for. That's all that matters. Amara turned to him with tears still flowing. Why are you doing all of this for us? Benjamin stepped closer to her, his heart pounding. Because I love you, Amara. I love you and I already love this baby. I know it's complicated and I know the timing isn't perfect, but I needed you to know how I feel." Amara stared at him, her hand moving to her heart. "Benjamin? You don't have to say anything right now," Benjamin continued quickly. "I know you're still grieving James, and I know you need to focus on the baby. I just wanted you to know that whatever happens, you and your child will always have a home here. Always." Amara stepped forward and took his hands in hers. "I love you too," she said quietly. "I didn't expect it to happen and I felt guilty at first, but I can't deny it anymore. You've shown me kindness and love when I needed it most. You've given me hope when I thought I had none left." Benjamin's face lit up with joy and relief. "Really? Really?" Amara confirmed. "James used to say that love comes in different seasons of life, and we should be grateful for all of them. I think this is my second season." Benjamin cupped her face gently in his hands. "Are you sure this is what you want? I don't want to pressure you or complicate things." "Benjamin," Amara said with a smile, "you've been nothing but patient and kind. You've never pressured me for anything. You've given me space to heal while also showing me that I deserve love and care. How could I not fall in love with you?" That evening at dinner, everything felt different between them. The conversation flowed even more naturally, punctuated by shared glances and gentle touches. They were no longer just friends or employer and employee, they were two people who had found love in the most unexpected circumstances. "I have an idea," Benjamin said as they finished dessert. "What if we take a weekend trip somewhere? Somewhere peaceful where you can relax before the baby comes." "That sounds wonderful," Amara replied. "But are you sure you can take time away from work?" "Work will always be there," Benjamin said. "But this time with you before we become a family of 3 is precious. I don't want to miss a moment of it." Amara reached across the table and took his hand. "I love that you said, 'we become a family of 3. Is that presumptuous of me?" Benjamin asked, suddenly concerned. "No," Amara said firmly. "It's exactly what I was hoping you would say." Later that evening, as they stood in the nursery together, Amara leaning against Benjamin's chest with his arms wrapped around her, she felt a peace she hadn't experienced since before James died. "Thank you," she whispered. "For what?" "For showing me that it's possible to be grateful for the past and excited about the future at the same time. For proving that good men still exist. For loving me and this baby without reservation." Benjamin kissed the top of her head gently. "Thank you for teaching me what a real home feels like. For showing me that love isn't about what you can get from someone, but what you can give to them. Can you believe how this love story is unfolding? Amara and Benjamin have found something beautiful together, but with the baby coming soon, what challenges might they still face? Make sure to subscribe and let me know in the comments what you think their biggest obstacle will be." As they held each other in the soft light of the nursery, both Amara and Benjamin knew that whatever challenges lay ahead, they would face them together. Their love had grown from kindness, been nurtured by patience, and strengthened by genuine care for each other's well-being. It was the kind of love that could weather any storm. At 2 o'clock in the morning, Amara woke up to a sharp pain in her lower back. She had been having false contractions for the past week, so she tried to go back to sleep. But 15 minutes later, another pain came, stronger this time and accompanied by pressure she hadn't felt before. "This might be it," she whispered to herself, placing her hands on her belly. "Okay, little one, if you're ready to meet us, let's do this." She made her way to Benjamin's room and knocked softly on the door. When there was no answer, she knocked a bit louder. "Benjamin?" she called. The door opened immediately and Benjamin appeared in pajama pants and a t-shirt, his hair disheveled from sleep. But the moment he saw Amara's face, he was completely alert. "Is it time?" he asked, already reaching for his clothes. "I think so," Amara replied, breathing through another contraction. "The pains are getting stronger and closer together." Benjamin was dressed and moving within minutes. "I'm calling Dr. Martinez and getting the car ready." "How far apart are the contractions?" "About 12 minutes, Amara said, gripping the doorframe as another wave of pain hit her. "We're going to the hospital right now," Benjamin declared, supporting her arm. "I'm not taking any chances." The ride to the hospital was a blur of streetlights and Benjamin's steady voice keeping Amara calm. He held her hand while his driver navigated the empty streets, talking her through each contraction. "You're incredible," he told her as she squeezed his hand during a particularly strong pain. "You're so strong, Amara." "I'm scared," she admitted between breaths. "I'm right here," Benjamin assured her. "I'm not going anywhere. We're going to meet your baby today." At the hospital, Dr. Martinez was waiting for them. After examining Amara, she smiled broadly. "You're definitely in active labor. This baby is ready to make an entrance." The next 8 hours were a marathon of pain, breathing exercises, and Benjamin's unwavering support. He never left Amara's side, holding her hand, bringing her ice chips, and encouraging her through every contraction. "I can't do this," Amara cried during a particularly difficult moment. "Yes, you can," Benjamin said firmly, smoothing her hair back from her forehead. "You're the strongest person I know. This baby is so lucky to have you as a mother." When Dr. Martinez announced that it was time to push, Benjamin positioned himself right beside Amara's head, whispering encouragement and strength into her ear. "One more push, Amara," Dr. Martinez called out. "I can see the head." With a final burst of strength that surprised even herself, Amara pushed with everything she had. Suddenly, the room filled with the sound of a baby's strong cry. "It's a girl," Dr. Martinez announced, holding up the tiny, perfect baby. "And she has quite a set of lungs." Amara sobbed with relief and joy as the baby was placed on her chest. The little girl was beautiful, with a full head of dark hair and her mother's delicate features. "Hi, baby girl," Amara whispered, tears streaming down her face. "I'm your mama and I love you so much." Benjamin stared at the tiny baby in amazement, his own eyes filled with tears. "She's perfect, Amara. Absolutely perfect. Would you like to cut the cord, Dad?" Dr. Martinez asked Benjamin. Benjamin looked at Amara questioningly. "If that's okay with you." "Please," Amara said, smiling through her tears. "I'd like that very much." With shaking hands, Benjamin cut the umbilical cord, officially welcoming the baby into the world. When the nurses took the baby to clean her up and check her vitals, Benjamin stayed beside Amara, holding her hand and kissing her forehead. "You were amazing," he told her. "I've never seen anything so incredible in my life." "She's healthy?" Amara asked anxiously. "Perfect," Dr. Martinez confirmed from across the room. 7 pounds 2 ounces and completely healthy. "What's her name?" Amara looked at Benjamin, then back at her daughter. "Hope," she said decisively. "Her name is Hope. Hope Johnson Cross." Benjamin's breath caught. "Cross. If that's okay with you," Amara said softly. "I know we're not married yet, but I want her to know that you're her family too." "Yet?" Benjamin repeated, his heart soaring. Amara laughed weakly. "Did I say yet? I must be delirious from labor." "I love you so much," Benjamin said, leaning down to kiss her gently. "Both of you." When the nurses brought Hope back, swaddled in soft pink blankets, Benjamin held her for the first time. The tiny baby looked up at him with dark, curious eyes, and Benjamin felt his heart completely surrender. "Hello, Hope," he whispered. "I'm Benjamin, and I'm going to love and protect you for the rest of my life." Amara watched this tender scene with overwhelming gratitude. "Benjamin, would you be Hope's godfather?" "Officially?" "I would be honored," Benjamin replied, still gazing at the baby in wonder. "But I was actually hoping to be something more than that, if you'll have me." "What do you mean?" "I mean I want to adopt her," Benjamin said seriously. "I want to be her father in every way that matters. If you'll let me." Amara's tears started fresh. "Are you sure? That's a huge commitment." "I've never been more sure of anything in my life," Benjamin assured her. "This little girl is going to be raised knowing she's loved completely by both of us." As the day progressed and they settled into their hospital room, Benjamin never left their sides. He learned how to change diapers, how to swaddle Hope properly, and how to support Amara as she learned to breastfeed. When visiting hours ended, he refused to leave. "Sir, you'll need to go home now," a nurse informed him. "I'm not leaving my family," Benjamin said politely but firmly. "I'll sleep in the chair if necessary, but I'm staying right here." Dr. Martinez intervened, arranging for Benjamin to stay overnight in the room. "New fathers need bonding time too," she told the nurse with a wink. That night, as Amara slept and Hope dozed peacefully in her bassinet, Benjamin sat in the chair between them, keeping watch over his new family. He had never imagined that love could feel this overwhelming, this complete. When Hope stirred and began to fuss, Benjamin carefully picked her up, not wanting to wake Amara who needed rest. "Shoo, sweetheart," he whispered, walking slowly around the room with Hope against his chest. "Mama needs to sleep, but Daddy's here. I've got you." Hope settled immediately against his chest, her tiny hand grasping his finger. In that moment, Benjamin knew that his life had been forever changed. He wasn't just a successful businessman anymore. He was a father, and it was the most important job he would ever have. Bringing Hope home from the hospital felt like the beginning of a completely new life for all three of them. Benjamin had spent the previous day baby-proofing the mansion and ensuring that everything Hope could possibly need was perfectly prepared. "Welcome home, little princess," Benjamin said as they walked through the front door. He carried the car seat while Amara walked slowly beside him, still recovering from delivery. The next few weeks fell into a beautiful rhythm. Benjamin had arranged to work from home for the first month, wanting to be present for every moment of Hope's early life. He threw himself into fatherhood with the same dedication he had once reserved for business deals. At 2 in the morning, when Hope would wake up crying, Benjamin would get up immediately. "I'll change her diaper and bring her to you for feeding," he would tell Amara, who was amazed by his eagerness to help with middle-of-the-night care. "You don't have to get up every time," Amara protested one night. "You need sleep too." "Are you kidding?" Benjamin replied, gently lifting Hope from her crib. "I don't want to miss anything. She's growing so fast already." During the day, Benjamin would work on his laptop while Hope napped in her bouncy seat nearby. He had become expert at typing quietly and taking conference calls in whispered tones. His business partners were amused by his transformation. "Benjamin, you sound different," his colleague Robert mentioned during a video call. "Happier." "I am happier," Benjamin confirmed, glancing over at Hope, who was sleeping peacefully. Being a father changes everything. Amara watched these interactions with growing love and amazement. Benjamin had embraced fatherhood so completely that it seemed like he had been born for the role. He read parenting books during his lunch breaks, researched the best organic baby food brands, and could change a diaper faster than most experienced parents. "You're a natural at this," Amara told him one afternoon as she watched him give Hope her bath. His large hands were incredibly gentle as he supported her tiny body, talking to her in soft tones throughout the process. "I love taking care of her," Benjamin replied, carefully washing Hope's hair. "And taking care of you. This is what I want to do for the rest of my life." 1 month after Hope's birth, Benjamin surprised Amara with a beautiful ceremony in their garden. He had arranged for a pastor to come and officially christen Hope, with a small gathering of Dr. Martinez and a few of Benjamin's closest friends and business associates. "I wanted Hope to be welcomed into the world properly," Benjamin explained as they stood together in the garden, Hope sleeping peacefully in Amara's arms. "And I wanted to make a public commitment to both of you." During the ceremony, when the pastor asked about Hope's family, Benjamin stepped forward. "This is my daughter, Hope," he said clearly so everyone could hear. "And this is the woman I love, Amara. They are my family and I am theirs." Amara felt her heart overflow with gratitude and love. The way Benjamin claimed them both, without hesitation or qualification, made her feel more secure and loved than she had ever thought possible. After the ceremony, as their guests mingled in the garden, Benjamin pulled Amara aside. "There's something I want to discuss with you," he said, his voice unusually nervous. "What is it?" Amara asked, concerned by his tone. "I want to officially adopt Hope," Benjamin said. "I want her last name to be Cross, and I want to be her father legally as well as in every other way." Amara's eyes filled with tears. "Benjamin, are you absolutely sure? Once you do that, you're responsible for her forever." "I'm already responsible for her forever," Benjamin replied firmly. "She's my daughter. I want the paperwork to reflect what's already true in my heart." "Yes," Amara said without hesitation. "Yes, I want that too." The legal process took several weeks, during which Benjamin continued to amaze Amara with his devotion to their family. He had Hope's nursery expanded into a full bedroom suite as she grew. He researched the best pediatricians, enrolled in a Daddy and Me swimming class, and even learned to prepare organic baby food from scratch. "I never expected to love being a father this much," he told Amara one evening as they watched Hope playing on her activity mat. "I thought I was too selfish, too focused on work." "You were never selfish," Amara corrected him. "You just hadn't found the right people to care for yet." The day the adoption papers were finalized, Benjamin came home from the courthouse with tears in his eyes and a huge smile on his face. "It's official," he announced, picking up Hope and spinning her gently in the air. "Hope Cross, you are legally and officially my daughter." Hope giggled and reached for his face, and Benjamin felt his heart could burst with happiness. That night, after Hope was asleep, Amara and Benjamin sat together in the living room, reflecting on how much their lives had changed. 6 months ago, I was alone and pregnant, working 3 jobs just to survive," Amara mused. "Now I have a beautiful daughter, a man who loves us both, and the most wonderful home I could ever imagine." 6 months ago, I was lonely and convinced that I was better off alone," Benjamin replied. "Now I wake up every morning grateful for the sound of Hope crying and the sight of your face." They sat in comfortable silence for a while, just enjoying being together. "Benjamin," Amara said finally, "there's something I want to tell you." What is it? I'm ready, she said, looking directly into his eyes. Ready for what? I'm ready to marry you, Amara said with a smile. I'm ready to be your wife and to build this family together officially. Benjamin's face lit up with joy. Are you proposing to me, Amara Johnson? Maybe I am, she replied with a laugh. What do you say, Benjamin Cross? Will you marry me? Yes, Benjamin said, pulling her into his arms. Yes, 1,000 times yes. As they held each other, both of them knew that they had found something rare and precious. Their love had grown from the ashes of loss and loneliness into something strong and beautiful. They had become a family not through traditional circumstances, but through choice, commitment, and an abundance of love. Despite Amara's sweet proposal in the living room, Benjamin had his own plans brewing. Over the next 2 weeks, he worked secretly to create the perfect proposal experience for the woman who had transformed his life so completely. I need to run some errands this afternoon, Benjamin told Amara one Saturday morning as they finished breakfast with Hope babbling happily in her high chair. Would you mind if I take a few hours? Of course not, Amara replied, wiping applesauce off Hope's face. Hope and I will probably take a nap anyway. She was up early this morning. What Amara didn't know was that Benjamin's errands involved a team of florists, a string quartet, a photographer, and a jewelry designer who was bringing a selection of engagement rings to the mansion. Benjamin had been planning this proposal for weeks, wanting every detail to be perfect. He knew that Amara deserved something beautiful and meaningful, something that honored both their love story and her first marriage. While he was gone, Amara spent the afternoon playing with Hope in the garden room, completely unaware of the preparations happening around the property. The staff had been sworn to secrecy, and everyone was working quietly to transform the garden into something magical. When Benjamin returned at 4 o'clock, he found Amara and Hope exactly where he had left them, surrounded by picture books and toys. Did you have a good afternoon? Amara asked, looking up from where she was lying on the floor with Hope. Very productive, Benjamin replied with a mysterious smile. But I need you to do me a favor. What kind of favor? I need you to get dressed up, Benjamin said. Something beautiful. We're having dinner in the garden tonight. Amara raised an eyebrow. In the garden? Benjamin, what are you up to? It's a surprise, he said, taking Hope from her arms. I'll watch Hope while you get ready. Take your time and make yourself feel beautiful. An hour later, Amara appeared at the top of the staircase wearing a flowing blue dress that brought out her eyes and complemented her glowing skin. Her hair was styled in soft waves, and she wore the pearl earrings that had been her grandmother's. You look breathtaking, Benjamin said, offering her his arm. He had changed into a tailored charcoal suit and looked more handsome than she had ever seen him. Where's Hope? Amara asked as they walked toward the garden. Mrs. Peterson is watching her for a few hours, Benjamin replied, referring to the nanny he had recently hired to help Amara when she needed rest. Tonight is just about us. When Benjamin opened the garden doors, Amara gasped audibly. The entire space had been transformed into something from a fairy tale. Thousands of tiny white lights twinkled in the trees and bushes. White roses and peonies created elegant arrangements throughout the space. A small table for two was set with fine china and crystal glasses, positioned perfectly under a canopy of lights. Benjamin, Amara breathed, this is incredible. You haven't seen everything yet, he replied, leading her down the path. As they walked deeper into the garden, soft music began to play. A string quartet, hidden discreetly behind some hedges, was performing a beautiful arrangement of classical love songs. How did you do all of this? Amara asked, tears already forming in her eyes. I had help, Benjamin admitted. But I wanted tonight to be perfect for you. They sat down to dinner, and Benjamin had arranged for their meal to be served by the catering team he had hired for the evening. Every detail was flawless, from the wine selection to the perfectly prepared salmon that was Amara's favorite. As they ate, they talked and laughed, but Amara could sense that Benjamin was nervous about something. His hands shook slightly when he reached for his water glass, and he seemed to be watching the time. Benjamin, are you okay? She asked during dessert. You seem anxious about something. I am anxious, he admitted with a nervous laugh. But it's good anxiety. When they finished eating, Benjamin stood and extended his hand to her. Would you take a walk with me? They strolled through the transformed garden, and Amara marveled at every beautiful detail. But when they reached the fountain in the center of the space, she stopped short. The area around the fountain was filled with hundreds of candles, creating a warm, romantic glow. Rose petals were scattered on the ground, and a photographer was discreetly positioned nearby. Amara, Benjamin said, turning to face her and taking both of her hands in his. 6 months ago, I was a lonely man who thought that love was a luxury I couldn't afford. I had convinced myself that I was better off alone, that relationships were too complicated and risky. Amara's heart began to race as she realized what was happening. Then I met a pregnant woman who collapsed in a diner and everything changed, Benjamin continued, his voice growing stronger with emotion. You didn't just come into my house, Amara. You came into my heart. You taught me what love really looks like. You showed me that taking care of someone isn't a burden, it's a privilege. Benjamin dropped to one knee, pulling a small velvet box from his pocket. Amara covered her mouth with her hands, tears streaming down her face. You made me a father before I ever thought I wanted to be one, and now I can't imagine my life without Hope's laughter filling our home. You made me a better man just by loving me exactly as I am. He opened the box to reveal a stunning ring with a perfect solitaire diamond surrounded by smaller stones. Amara Johnson, will you marry me? Will you let me spend the rest of my life showing you how grateful I am that you collapsed in that diner? Will you let me love you and hope forever? Yes, Amara sobbed, dropping to her knees to meet him at eye level. Yes, Benjamin, of course I'll marry you. I love you so much. Benjamin slipped the ring onto her finger with shaking hands, then pulled her into his arms for a kiss that was witnessed by the twinkling lights, the gentle music, and the photographer who captured every perfect moment. It's beautiful, Amara said, admiring the ring through her tears. But you didn't have to do all of this. Yes, I did, Benjamin replied firmly. You deserve to feel like a princess. You deserve to know how much you're loved. You deserve the most beautiful proposal I could possibly give you. They held each other in the candlelit garden, both overwhelmed by the magnitude of their love and gratitude for the journey that had brought them together. When do you want to get married? Benjamin asked as they slowly made their way back toward the house. Tomorrow? Amara suggested with a laugh. I don't want to wait another day to be your wife. I love your enthusiasm, Benjamin replied, but I think we need a little more time to plan the wedding you deserve. I don't need a big wedding, Amara protested. I just need you. What about Hope? Benjamin asked. Don't you want her to be part of the ceremony? Of course, Amara agreed. Our little flower girl. As they reached the house, they could hear Hope babbling happily with Mrs. Peterson in the living room. They went inside to share their news with their daughter, who clapped her hands excitedly when she saw Amara's ring, as if she understood the significance of the moment. What do you think, Hope? Benjamin asked, picking her up. Should Mama and Daddy get married? Hope reached for both of them, bringing their faces together, and they laughed at her perfect timing. I think that's a yes, Amara said, kissing both Benjamin and Hope. We're really going to be a family. We already are a family, Benjamin corrected gently. Now we're just making it official. The morning of the wedding dawned with perfect spring weather. Amara woke up in the guest cottage where she had spent the night, following the tradition that the bride and groom shouldn't see each other before the ceremony. Through the window she could see the garden where Benjamin's proposal had taken place, now transformed once again for their wedding celebration. Good morning, beautiful bride, said Rebecca Martinez, Dr. Martinez's daughter who had become Amara's close friend and was serving as her maid of honor. Are you ready to become Mrs. Cross? I've been ready since the night he proposed, Amara replied, stretching and smiling. Is Hope awake yet? She's been up for an hour and she's already had her breakfast, Rebecca assured her. Mrs. Peterson has her dressed and ready to go. You should see her in her flower girl dress, she looks like an angel. The wedding was planned to be intimate but elegant, with about 50 guests including Benjamin's business associates, Dr. Martinez and her family, and a few of Amara's friends from her previous job. Benjamin had also surprised Amara by flying in her elderly aunt from Georgia, the only family member she had left. As Amara got ready, she thought about James and how different this wedding was from her first one. Her first wedding had been small and simple, held in a community center with folding chairs and grocery store flowers. It had been beautiful because of their love, but it had been limited by their budget. This wedding was elegant beyond her wildest dreams. The garden was decorated with white roses and peonies, the same flowers from the proposal. A string quartet would provide music, and Benjamin had hired the best caterer in the city. But more than the beautiful setting, Amara was overwhelmed by the love she felt from Benjamin and the security of knowing that their future was bright and stable. I wish James could see this, Amara said quietly as Rebecca helped her into her wedding dress, a stunning creation of silk and lace that fit her perfectly. I think he can, Rebecca replied gently. And I think he would be so happy to know that you and Hope are loved and cared for. Meanwhile, in the main house, Benjamin was having his own moment of reflection as his best man. His business partner Robert helped him with his tie. "I never thought I'd see the day when Benjamin Cross would be nervous about anything," Robert observed with amusement. "This is the most important day of my life," Benjamin replied, adjusting his cufflinks. "I just want everything to be perfect for Amara and Hope." "It will be," Robert assured him. "You've planned every detail, and more importantly, you're marrying a woman who loves you completely. What could go wrong?" As if summoned by those words, Benjamin's phone rang with an urgent tone. It was his head of security. "Mr. Cross, we have a situation," the voice said tensely. "Richard Hartwell is here and he's demanding to see you. He says he has information that could destroy your reputation, and he wants to discuss it before your wedding begins." Benjamin's blood ran cold. Richard Hartwell was his biggest business rival, a man who had been trying to undermine Benjamin's company for years. The timing of his appearance couldn't be coincidental. "Where is he now?" Benjamin asked, moving away from Robert to speak privately. "He's at the front gate with 2 men in suits. He says he'll leave quietly if you give him 5 minutes, but if you don't, he'll make a scene during your wedding ceremony." Benjamin closed his eyes and took a deep breath. This was exactly the kind of situation he had spent years preparing for, but having it happen on his wedding day felt like a cruel twist of fate. "Tell him I'll meet him at the front gate in 5 minutes, Benjamin said finally, "and have additional security standing by." "What's wrong?" Robert asked as Benjamin hung up the phone. "Richard Hartwell is here," Benjamin explained grimly. "He's threatening to cause trouble unless I speak with him." "On your wedding day?" Robert was outraged. "The man has no shame." "I have to handle this," Benjamin said, straightening his shoulders. "I won't let him ruin Amara's day." Benjamin walked to the front gate, his mind racing through possibilities of what Hartwell might want. When he saw his rival standing there with a smug expression, Benjamin felt his anger rise. "Hartwell," Benjamin said coldly, "you have 5 minutes. "Congratulations on your wedding day, Benjamin," Hartwell said with false pleasantry. "I hope it goes smoothly. What do you want?" "I want you to withdraw your bid for the Patterson Industries contract," Hartwell said bluntly. "If you don't, I'll release some very interesting information about your personal life to the press." "What kind of information?" Benjamin asked, though his voice remained steady. "Information about your fiancée's financial situation before she met you. About how convenient it was that a pregnant woman with massive debts happened to collapse in front of you. Some people might think it looks like a setup." Benjamin felt a surge of protective fury. "You're threatening to spread lies about Amara?" "Not lies," Hartwell said with a cruel smile. "Just questions. Questions about timing, about motives, about whether a gold digger might target a lonely billionaire." "Amara isn't a gold digger," Benjamin said through gritted teeth. "Maybe not, but by the time the press finishes with the story, public perception might be different. Your reputation could be damaged. Your business could suffer. All on your wedding day." Benjamin stared at his rival, weighing his options. The Patterson contract was worth millions, and it would establish his company as the leader in their industry. But protecting Amara and Hope was worth more than any business deal. "You have a deal," Benjamin said finally. "I'm sorry?" Hartwell looked surprised. "I'll withdraw my bid," Benjamin clarified. "But if you ever threaten my family again, if you ever even mention their names, I will destroy you. Do you understand me?" Hartwell smiled triumphantly. "Pleasure doing business with you, Benjamin. Enjoy your wedding." As Hartwell and his men drove away, Benjamin felt a mixture of anger and relief. He had protected his family, but at a significant cost to his business. "Everything okay?" Robert asked as Benjamin returned to the house. "It's handled," Benjamin replied firmly. "Let's get married." 30 minutes later, Benjamin stood at the altar in the garden, watching as the music began and his wedding party walked down the aisle. Hope came first, toddling unsteadily in her white dress with a basket of rose petals, her face lit up with excitement as she saw Benjamin waiting for her. "Dada," she called out, abandoning her flower girl duties to run to him. Benjamin scooped her up, deciding that tradition could be flexible. "Hi, Princess. Are you ready to watch Mama and Daddy get married?" Then the music changed and Amara appeared at the end of the aisle. Benjamin's breath caught in his throat. She was radiant in her wedding dress, more beautiful than he had ever seen her. But more than her physical beauty, she glowed with happiness and love. As she walked toward him, Benjamin realized that nothing Hartwell had threatened mattered. No business deal, no contract, no amount of money was worth more than this moment, this woman, this family. "You look incredible," Benjamin whispered as Amara reached him, hope still in his arms. So do you, Amara replied, her eyes shining with tears of joy. The ceremony was perfect. They exchanged vows they had written themselves, promising to love and care for each other and for Hope, to build a family based on kindness and gratitude, and to face whatever challenges life brought them together. Do you, Benjamin Cross, take Amara Johnson to be your wife, and do you accept Hope as your daughter, to love and cherish for the rest of your life? I do, Benjamin said firmly, looking directly into Amara's eyes. Do you, Amara Johnson, take Benjamin Cross to be your husband, to love and honor for the rest of your life? I do, Amara replied without hesitation. Then by the power vested in me, I now pronounce you husband and wife. You may kiss your bride. Benjamin handed Hope to Rebecca and pulled Amara into his arms for a kiss that was witnessed by their loved ones and celebrated by enthusiastic applause. As they walked back down the aisle as a married couple, Hope between them holding both their hands, Benjamin felt a peace and completeness he had never imagined possible. During the reception, as they danced to their first song as husband and wife, Amara noticed that Benjamin seemed distracted. What's wrong? She asked quietly. Benjamin hesitated, then decided to tell her the truth about Hartwell's visit. As he explained what had happened, Amara's expression grew serious. You gave up the Patterson contract? She asked when he finished. Without hesitation, Benjamin confirmed. No business deal is worth having you hurt or embarrassed. Amara stopped dancing and looked up at him with overwhelming love. Benjamin Cross, you continue to amaze me. But you know what? What? I think you made the right choice, but not for the reason you think. I think you're going to get something much better than the Patterson contract. How can you be so sure? Because good things happen to good people, Amara said simply. And you, my husband, are the best man I know. 3 months later, Amara's prediction proved true. Benjamin received a call offering him a contract worth 3 times more than the Patterson deal, from a company that had heard about his integrity and wanted to do business with someone they could trust. But that night, as they celebrated their wedding and their new life together, Benjamin knew that the best reward he had already received. He had a wife who loved him completely, a daughter who called him daddy, and a home filled with warmth and laughter. As the evening wound down and they tucked Hope into her crib, Amara and Benjamin stood together looking at their sleeping daughter. Thank you, Amara said softly. For what this time? Benjamin asked with a smile. For choosing us, she replied. For choosing love over money, family over business, what's right over what's profitable. Thank you for teaching me what those choices look like, Benjamin replied, pulling her close. I love you, Mrs. Cross. I love you too, Mr. Cross. Forever and always. And as they held each other in the soft light of Hope's nursery, both of them knew that they had found something precious and rare. A love built on kindness, strengthened by gratitude, and sustained by the daily choice to put each other first. Their journey had begun with a collapse in a diner, but it had led them to the strongest foundation either of them had ever known.